Review. Book one was all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is entrepreneur, speaker, forensic nurse, business strategies, personal and professional development trainer, addiction and mental health expert, and of course, consultant and best-selling author, no other than Dr. Shanea Clancy.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I am looking forward to our show together.
Welcome to Book 101, Dr. Shanea. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Absolutely. So, thank you for the great introduction. I am a number one international best-selling author, speaker, coach, consultant. But my two favorite titles are wife and mother.
Indeed. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Dr. Shania. And let's talk about transforming trauma into triumph as a best selling book. What can you tell about this?
Absolutely. This was the first book I ever wrote. And it was not something I necessarily had on my bucket list forever, but it was something that was on my bucket list. And whenever I was at a conference, I actually heard Auntie Ann Baylor, who is the founder of Annie and Pretzels, share her story and her book, and knew it was my time to write my story. So this book
For sure.
is, yeah, very personal and speaks to those, especially people who might be challenged by limiting beliefs, overcoming self-doubt, insecurities, their past, different things like that. And this book really is almost like a guide. Even though it has my personal journey through it, it really is a guide to help people leverage their best selves and be able to move past the old self, breaking those barriers and limiting beliefs.
What was the pivotal moment or realization where you shifted from surviving trauma to actively transforming into triumph?
When I realized it was that moment that I was not only a, I always say thriver because I think that that really holds a lot of weight. I say survivor, thriver. But when I realized it wasn't just about that, it was about that transformational journey from almost shedding the old to the new. And that really takes into account all of my experiences and how I transformed to overcome and be that survivor. That really was the moment where just mentally things clicked and the stars of the universe aligned for me to really know that that was the moment. I can't put like a specific location as to when that happened, but it was something that was literally transforming in my mind over time.
Dr. Shania, thank you for the triumph. How do you define triumph in the context of your story? What is a single achievement, an ongoing state, or something else entirely?
Oh, this is a great question. This is one I often help people
Yes.
get to as well in my coaching. The triumph is the pivotal moment for me in my story where I was at the lowest point of my life. Like, if there's any reason for somebody to pick this book up, it would be if they or you and whoever's in your audience or listening is feeling like life ahead is not an option, or you have messed up so bad that there's no coming back from that. And so, transformation to me is really just pausing to recognize that we don't have to be defined by our past and we can leverage the future. When I was told that I was not going to be able to enter a master's program in nursing for forensic nursing because my past had caught, I don't want to say caught up with me, it just was a barrier for me to be able to enter that program. And 3 days later, I like to say it was by the grace of God that things got completely reversed. And from there, really changed the opportunities and trajectory of where my life would go.
Indeed, people, through the grace of God. The role of harrowing beginning. How did the specific nature of early trauma shape the unique path your healing and growth took?
So, the early trauma, I think when we talk about the neurodivergence, the mental aspect of how trauma really rewires our brain, and we often don't think about that. It will rewire and create new neural pathways that we start to really utilize and lean into and leverage. And so it's really about shifting that mindset and creating new neural pathways of positivity and mindset and just those overcoming beliefs. And so the early trauma literally rewired my brain into paralyzation that was thinking, I'm not good enough, I won't be good enough, I can't be forgiven. But whenever I took the active state to move past that after recognizing, then I started to create those newer neural pathways of positivity, thankfulness, staying grounded. And so that really is what helped me move past it. If it wasn't for that, I honestly do not know how the trauma would have continued to affect me because it's so compacting.
The title mentions God and grace. Can you describe how your understanding or relationship with faith, divinity, changed throughout your journey, especially during the darkest times?
Oh yes. I I have a very strong personal relationship. I'm a Christian, non-denominational, and have a very strong personal relationship with Jesus, God, my Father. But I always like to preface this that I understand people have different beliefs, and I'm very appreciative of that. This book, even though it is very much aligned with Christianity, I've had a lot of people read it who have said, "Wow, I took a lot of things away from that book." And I'm not even a Christian because it's literally, like I said, more about that guide and the guidance of internal shifting. But it really is that relationship that held me in some sort of hope that there was going to be a future that was better for me. When I was sitting inside one of the, local county, jails, honestly, this is in my book, and I was like, there's no way. Like, God, how is he even real? How does he let something like this happen? Not only to me, I'm like the minimal part of that, but to other people. And I just really had a hard look at faith and where that laid, where I laid within that picture. And I was mad at God for quite a while. I was mad at any being higher than myself. And what I realized is that it was myself I was really angry and disappointed in. And so that was the part that I was able to leverage to move past that. But I was stuck there for a while. Absolutely.
Yes, people, it happened for a reason. And what are the most crucial practices, therapies, or mindset that enable you to process your traumas, begin healing?
The first thing, I entered treatment in the sense of post traumatic stress disorder therapy outpatient. So I always say that that has a very large impact on the way that my neuro pathways were already kind of being rerouted instead of staying stuck in that mindset of trauma. After that, absolutely. I think getting up in the morning and having gratitude for something, and being thankful for at least one thing. Even if I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling defeated, like maybe I'm sick, my children have been giving me a run for my money already. I'm like, okay, where is the sliver of thankfulness here? And throughout the day, we'll just kind of pause, reflect, okay, where are we at with the day? And where do I want to keep going? Or where is my mission supposed to have me go? And at the end of the day, reflect. And I do a lot of reflecting with my family even now. We start the day with like one kind thing that we will say to each other, and the day, one great quality or aspect that we see in each other to really re-emphasize the positive, because there is so much negativity and forces, once you step outside of your home, that everybody's competing with anyhow. So to keep this a safe space, our mindset a safe space, is really just that repetition and consistency of being mindful, grateful, and thankful.
What is the single most important universal lesson from your experience that you hope every reader takes away and applies?
That even in the darkest of moments, there is still hope. If you at least believe 1%, maybe less than that, but there is still hope for a better, brighter future, because that's really what each of us are called for. And those dark moments are sometimes the moments that will shape you into finding your mission, position, and purpose.
Did forgiveness play a necessary part in your transformation?
100%. Forgiveness is one of the key foundations that I think transformation really holds, because it's those mental strongholds that will hold you back. And not only just forgiveness of others, forgiveness of self. And it's hard. Both of those are hard. It sounds so much easier to say, but it really is something that is crucial to personal and professional development, is that forgiveness piece, especially because others might not even know that we are upset with them. They didn't know that there was an expectation that we've set for them. And if we can't forgive that, then the relationship and communication's fractured. Just like if I didn't forgive those and forgive myself, I might really be stopping the blessing and purpose of somebody else because of ineffective communication.
Dr. Shania, as an entrepreneur, speaker, forensic nurse, best-selling author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
I actually have written um, 7 books in the past, well, now it's a year, but I have two more that are coming. So, just to continue to write, impact people where they are, help them get to where they want to be, and speak more, do more consultations and trainings, just because I think that there's power in connectedness and being able not only just to share personal experience, but be able to let others see in them their value and their purpose.
Value and purpose indeed. Good luck to your goals, Dr. Shania. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to create their book, want to be a coach, or something to be like you?
Don't wait. Don't wait. Reach out, do make the introduction, because oftentimes there's a lot of people that hesitate to make an introduction for whatever reason, but that introduction might be the person that your coworker, that your friend needs. And so just don't be afraid, make the connection, and there is never the perfect time. So don't wait. Make it the perfect time.
Thank you for your advice, Dr. Shania. And what's a common misconception about healing from deep trauma that your story directly
Yes.
challenge or
One of the
correct?
misconceptions is that you can't heal, you can't forgive, and that your past will always define you. All of those are 100% limiting beliefs.
Indeed, people limiting belief. The book promises transformation, not just coping. What does moving from surviving to thriving particularly look like for someone still early in their healing journey?
That's a great question. I would say early on, sometimes it looks like very hopeless, quite frankly.
Yes.
If I look at it from my perspective, it can look and feel hopeless early on. But putting one foot in front of the other each day, whatever that looks like, even if it's a step forward and 20 steps back, it's still progress because those 20 steps back might be something that needs to be experienced or appreciated in a different manner to move those 40 steps ahead. So just don't lose hope. And I know that it's very difficult in those moments. I can't say I understand because everybody's journey is different, but I know that it can be extremely daunting early on. But putting one foot in front of the other just compounds that when you look back, you're like, I survived. I did it.
I survived. Definitely, Dr. Shanea. Very well said. We survived. Who do you most hope to reach with this book? And what do you most want them to feel or do after reading it?
Anybody who reads this book, I want them to know that they're loved, worthy, and worth being worthy for. I really hope that people just see themselves in the book because it's almost a story within a story because mine can be a little difficult to relate to, but there's, like I said, a story in the story. And so just reaching people, or maybe you, from somebody from your audience or yourself, you never know where people are in their stage of life, and just touching the lives of people who have some kind of thought, either for themselves internally or some decisions they've made that they would have chose better had they had more information, or that they wish they could change, so that those limitations no longer limit them and help them to flourish personally and professionally. This book's for anybody: CEO, somebody that's incarcerated, somebody that might be struggling with addiction, somebody who just needs a glimpse of hope and realignment. This book is for everybody and it's meant for you.
Indeed, indeed. This book is for everybody to empower. How did you navigate the fear of discomfort that came with revealing your harrowing beginning and deepest struggles?
Interesting question. And actually, I think you're only the second person who has asked me that question since putting this book out. The most challenging part was already being quite established in my field and area of expertise. But you see, when a female gets married, typically they take the name of their spouse.
Yes.
And all of my experiences had happened still under my maiden name. And when I went to publish this book, I knew I had a pause. I was like, God, if this is something I'm supposed to do, I will do it in obedience. But we're putting a lot of stuff out there for as far as I've come. And I also was extremely mindful and hesitant because of the situation surrounding. And see, I don't want to give all my secrets away in the book. So, everything surrounding the things that had happened, because there were people that were significantly impacted that I do not know. And I wanted to be extremely mindful when writing this book. The first person that asked me this was like, you really just wrote this whole book? And they were like, I never knew any of this. And everybody goes to you for for the area of expertise that this is in. And I said, well, I came to a point in my life, I had, whether fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of the personal experience. And then I was like, a lot of people want the professional experience. I'm just going to mesh them both. So if somebody wants the personal or the professional or both, they're both there, right?
Yes.
And they were really, really dumbfounded. They were like, did it feel like you were living a double life? And I'm like, no, because this is me. This is my story. This has made me who I am and who I wanted to share it with. There's so many people that already knew, but there's not everybody does. And so that was one of the most interesting concepts was somebody telling me that I had literally rebranded my entire life and I didn't even realize I was doing it. I was just trying to do better and be better. And then come out with this book and they're like, "You just kung paoed us." Like what? We didn't have a clue. And I'm like, it's because I'm just been living my mission and purpose. It just aligns.
Dr. Shania, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, Food 101 in fifth season, and Geography 101 in its fourth season. And my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in its third season, Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Dr. Shania, let's say, or um, what will be your recommendation for those people out there want to get out for their struggles in life?
The biggest thing is acknowledging that there's a disconnect from where you are and where you want to be. Struggle, I think, is a very interesting word. And so people use that word differently. So I would say wherever you're at, if it's not where you want to be, that's a struggle or a disconnect. Reach out. Reach out to the people who are where you want to be because iron sharpens iron, but water finds its own levels. And I know those are two different but very powerful metaphors. If you're with the same people who have the same mindset and don't challenge you to level up, you're going to stay at the same level. So seek out those are who you where you want to be, but also just let people know that, hey, I need someone to listen to, I need help. And it's okay to need that or be in that position because every single one of us has been.
Yes, people, if you need help, ask for help. And one more, Dr. Shania. The title implies hope. How do you define hope in the context of trauma, recovery, and how can readers actively cultivate it?
Yes, hope to me means believing in something that maybe isn't even there yet, but you know that it's better and brighter than where you're at. That's really just the most basic way to think of hope is, because a lot of times we just see negative, negative. Like that's how our brains are trained, or darkness, or inability. Hope is really just knowing that there's something on the other side that is tangible that you can get to that doesn't have to keep you stuck.
Dr. Shanea Clancy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy as well as your book itself?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I will love to be able to share this with whoever and ever I can on all my socials. You're making amazing moves bringing authors on to share their stories.
Yes, people, let's support Dr. Shanea Clancy because if you support her, more and more and more empowering books like this to come, of course, more and more empowering speaking to come, and of course, more and more empowering business to come. Dr. Shania, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bodycon people, see you soon.